Good morning, everybody. We have a mixed trade in the grain markets here early on Friday morning. It is 6:30 a.m. Central Time. March corn futures down 1.5 at 419 and 3/4. January soybeans down a quarter cent at 1152 and a half. March Chicago wheat up 3 1/4 at 599 and 3/4. March Kansas City wheat up 3 1/4 at 566 and 3/4. March spring wheat up 1 at 563 and a half. Yesterday's USDA report was mostly neutral. The report featured no major surprises, very few adjustments. The U.S. corn balance sheet was left totally unchanged. There was one adjustment made on the U.S. soybean balance sheet. USDA increased its projection for soybean crush for the marketing year by 15 million bushels, which resulted in a decline to the carryout, which was expected. The wheat, nothing real exciting there. I think USDA increased its export projection by a little bit. Maybe one of the most interesting things here is that, the soybean situation here in the U.S. remains very tight. The implied stocks to use ratio, if realized, 3.85%. That would be the tightest since 2013, if realized, and the second tightest since at least like the mid 1990s. So the prospect of one of the tightest stocks to use ratios for the U.S. on record leaves a lot of people with the idea here that the market is still underpriced. You've seen soybean prices trade 12, 13, 14, 15, $16 in past instances, and the U.S. situation is actually a little bit tighter right now than we saw perhaps in some of those instances. So it's still a friendly situation overall, and there are a lot of people who believe that USDA probably should have increased its export projection in beans, and that could be something that's coming down the road, I suppose. Now, in regard to soybean export sales, we've seen a decline there. Net sales last week only 569,000, which was up on the week pretty good, but still down 42% from the prior 4-week average. So the days of selling, 2 million metric tons a week in the export market are long gone. The last 5 weeks were some of the worst that we've seen during the marketing year that began on September 1st. China was still the largest buyer. There were a whole bunch of cancellations. Unknown destinations canceled 715,000 metric tons worth of beans. Trade chatter suggesting that China and Chinese crushers in particular have really booked a lot of what they'll need for this month and for next month, which then brings you to February when you will see some Brazilian beans available. Big story in the wheat market. Russia is considering an export tax on wheat. Putin apparently had a discussion with some of his people in the Russian government, some of the people in the Russian grain business, and was highly critical of the rising food prices in Russia. So now there is talk that there will be an export tax on wheat out of Russia that would be put in place February 15th through June 30th. It would amount to $27 per ton. This was the quote from Russia's prime minister. We must take concrete measures to effectively stabilize the prices of products that are important for people, in line with the instructions of the head of state. So it sounds like this is going to be up to Putin here. Russia, of course, is the world's largest exporter of wheat. I think that this news is probably responsible for a lot of the strength you've seen in the wheat market here the last few days. Keep in mind, I think it was just a week ago, maybe not even a week ago, we were talking about Russia potentially increasing some of these quotas that already exist. So that's a potentially friendly factor. No final decision has been made early this morning. Perhaps we'll hear something over the weekend, but the wheat market's higher again this morning. Drought continues to build across the U.S. southern plains and really the northern plains too, and even into the western corn belt. You look at the drought monitor from yesterday, and I mean, this drought that has been building, the worst of it is still like in the southwestern portion of the country, but it's pushing into the southern plains, certainly in the northern plains. Even you look at the western corn belt. I mean, all of Nebraska is experiencing some degree of drought. All of South Dakota, all of North Dakota, a good at least a third to half of Iowa, western Minnesota to some extent, a little bit of Missouri. So it's not a big deal for the Corn Belt right now, but if we get into spring and planting season and we've still got issues here, this could be problematic. The immediate concern, of course, would be for the HRW wheat crop. Cattle market was higher yesterday, 50 cents to about 90 cents up. Feeder cattle up marginally as well. Cash cattle has slipped. I think the majority's been 107 this week, but there was some trade, I think, in the Western Corn Belt as low as 103 or 104. Box beef market was down again yesterday. In the stock market, ahead of the cash open, we have the Dow Jones, let's see, down 190 points here. The S&P's down 27. So we've seen a little bit of weakness here in the equities. Bonds up a little bit. U.S. dollar is flat. Crude oil is down about 8 cents in the January WTI, 46.70. Precious metals down just a little bit. Remember, if you would like some more information from me, go to my website. It is www.standardgrain.com. Go to that website, click on Grain Marketing Plan here in the upper right-hand corner. You can sign up for my newsletter and subscription service for $49 a month. I'll let you know exactly how I'm marketing grain every business day. I send my email out at 6:30 Central Time in the morning. There's a text message service that goes along with that. I'll let you know when, how, and specifically I'm pricing corn, soybeans, and wheat. I'll let you know when I'm rolling sales, capture and carry. Any of that sort of stuff is included and tracked on a daily basis. So certainly check that out if you're interested. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Remember, on Monday night, I'll be doing a live stream. We'll be talking about ethanol. I'll talk more about that on Monday. It'll be Monday night at 7 o'clock, so make sure you tune in for that. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you on Monday.